Hello, friends. How are you today? I'd love to talk to you about the full moon energies, which are very interesting. And there's some magical good stuff in here, as well as the challenges. One of the most interesting things that happened is shortly after the full moon peaked, Venus went direct. And so it's kind of interesting with Venus and Mercury now. There's like this energy of rushing to get to Aries. You know, Venus turned direct just after she passed or retrograded over Saturn. So she turned direct at 24 degrees of Pisces and Saturn's at 25. So it's kind of like, you know, Venus and Saturn, when I see them together in Pisces, it's like they love each other very much, okay? And it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like Venus passed her lover and then was like, wait, I really want him, you know? And so essentially, here's the energy. It's like we almost missed something really important, but at the last moment we turn around and we turn back towards it. And so Venus turns back towards Saturn at the next degree. What is Saturn in Pisces? You know, Saturn is tradition. Saturn is potential new structures, a firmer, stronger foundation, or it's the breaking of these things where there's no stability, you know, and then a new foundation can be set or not, you know, but with the energy, you know, if we don't wish to continue, but with the energy of Venus, it's like she turns back towards him. So there's more of an energy here of reestablishing firmer foundations. And for them to be the strongest, it's got to be spiritually based in this energy because it's in Pisces. Now remember, Pisces can also bring delusion. So you want to have clarity here. You want to get clarity, and some of the other aspects help with that. I wanted to mention the blessings first. You know, we've had this minor grand triangle. It's the sextile from Mars to all this stuff in Pisces and Neptune at 0 Aries. And then there are two sextiles from that stellium to Uranus. Uranus is at the point, and then from Uranus to Mars. And so what's interesting about this is this has brought the potential for blessings if we're willing to reach a bit and do the work a little bit. So, you know, because the trine in this triangle is very favorable, the sextile means we need to do a little work. And so from the depths of the spiritual and doing something new, right, pioneering something, Neptune at 0 of Aries, you know, we can see shifts ahead or we can experience shifts, and there are blessings here for us. And the same thing with Uranus and Mars. You know, the shifts that Uranus and Taurus brings, the sudden shifts and changes can bring a blessing to that Mars energy in the home if Mars is ready or willing to settle down, focus, maybe even do some work in the home, you know, for renewal. And so there's tending towards blessings with these themes because of the nature of those aspects, you know. And now there's a grand trine in here as well. I'm going to start with the positive. There's a grand trine between Mars and Cancer, Juno at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, and Neptune at 0 of Aries. So Juno is retrograde, and she's basically the queen mother, she's Hera in the Greek mythology, but she's the clan mother. In her Hera form, she's the queen of heaven, but in her Juno form, I think of her as, you know, the generational effect. She's looking at how will this affect the generations, especially retrograde in Sagittarius, the sign of the future, of justice, of, you know, how are things going to work out? And she's very concerned about people, relationships, families. And so the grand trine here allows for blessings in these themes and for situations to adjust themselves to turn out in the highest good for the highest blessing. Now, here's where the rub is, okay? Those are the supportive energies in this chart. Now, let's look at the Grand Cross, which of course is the sun opposing the moon at the full moon. Now, the degrees of this are 23 degrees. The danger is past, okay? That's how I interpret that degree, because 22 is a very intense degree, and when we move off of it, and in 22 degrees is the degree for the entire month, okay, the lunar month. So we get a little bit of relief here. The sun is with Chiron. So what does this do? This stimulates our woundings and stimulates the potential learning or mastery that we either have or that we can dig a little deeper on, or that we could, here's the other side of the cross, that we could go to the depths of or understand the depths of, because the other side of this cross is the Mars-Pluto opposition. Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees. That's as far as it's going to go until I think late 25 or 2026. It's because it's going to retrograde in a few weeks. So Pluto's hanging out here, and this is the last degree that it's going to get to in Aquarius for a while, right? 3 degrees. So it's a new energy, and Pluto brings deep insight, opposing Mars in the sign of the home, Cancer. See, Mars hasn't yet moved to Leo. So number one, there's already a tension there because the opposition isn't in the traditional houses. And Pluto is opposing Mars in the sign of the home. That is never comfortable, okay? So there could be deep revelations here. And it's kind of like, because Pluto is about revelations, and it's about revelations of the depths, okay? So here's the thing. It's kind of like a barometer of sorts related to the Sun, Chiron, Moon opposition. So the question is, to what extent are you going to be aggressive versus use that energy wisely, Mars in the house? To what extent are you going to try to dominate others, or on the flip side, cry victimhood, versus using the energy of the Pluto insights, Plutonian insights, to elevate the soul? I mean, in the negative, there's a harshness here. Okay, that can be moderated by bringing the light of consciousness, because that's the sun, squaring Mars and Pluto. But with this Pisces stellium, including Neptune at 0 Aries, at its back. So the sun is backed up by all of this spiritual energy right now, and it's very potent and it's very powerful. And so there are some amazing transitions, elevations, learnings, mastery, self-improvement that can be gained here. And really, it's a blessed time. And it's so funny because I've said this before, but who knew Pluto in Aquarius would be this way? Like, is it easy? No, it's not easy, okay? But the potential for extraordinary gains that influence and affect us generationally in many ways are present here. Now, there are minor aspects that are important and potent that bring irritation and aggravation. So, you get to make the conscious choice or unconscious choice about how to handle those parts of the energies. And there's still a Yod to Lilith, and that can be part of that type of energy. So I do have a recent video on the Yod to Lilith, if you look back through my videos, and there's some good information on what is the Yod to Lilith, what is the meaning, and how do you deal with that energy, and what is the highest use of that energy because that's the finger of God pointing there to Lilith, currently at 0 degrees of Scorpio. That's a powerful, oh no, sorry, she's at 1 now, at 1 degrees. So that's still a powerful energy, So she was at 0 for quite some time. Now she's at 1. So she's now in the learning phase, the early phase, and possibly an immature phase. So go back and check out that video if you'd like. I do readings, and contact me through the comments or through direct message through my X account or my email that's linked on my video channel. And if you're interested in that, I do both astrology and human energy, reading the energy field, depending on what you desire. Okay, have a super great full moon 2-week period,